like even the other night was a Saturday night. I went to my club, all right, 1880 Club. It's a dance club. And there was like, the jazz band, they were playing and there was dancing and it was just, being happy. My goodness, there were so many ladies that came up to me and appreciating that I brought light upon them. I was just only dancing.
You know what? I was thinking about, funny enough, dancing in the sense that back in the days, as you said, almost all generations before TikTok, anything before TikTok, people would dance for the joy of dancing. Their body would move to what they're feeling.
Correct.
Whereas now, everybody is moving to somebody else's dance.
I create clear thinking and decisive leaders who can amplify their influence. Contact me to find out how I can help you or your organisation.
And today our guest is Nancy Ho. How are you doing, Nancy?
I'm doing really great. Thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good. The sun is shining, so it's hard to be upset when it's all sunny outside, especially when you're in the UK.
Right. So,
Nancy, do you have a film genre you like?
A film?
Film. It's in top of like horror or drama.
What I usually like are kind of like real story. I'm not very much, a movie goer kind of thing. For whatever reason, okay? But I'm not really into like real story. I just came back from LA last Monday. Yeah, this week. Yeah, arrived. Then in a plane, right? So many hours. It was 16 hours flight.
Gosh.
So what do you do, right? One of the things you do is to watch show. Right? That's the really time that I would do that.
Yeah.
And I chanced upon this particular movie that was a real story about this Paralympic athlete, sprinter. All right. He had cerebral palsy and how he overcame and, cerebral palsy having a problem to stand and to walk, and then the ability to run and race and won the gold medal. For the Paralympic. That's sort of a show, all right, a film, really moved me.
Yeah.
I enjoy those kind. Yes.
You know what I think with me with films, it's almost like you go through a season of things, don't you? So it's almost like I'll watch a lot of documentaries. I love a documentary, but then other times, like I've been watching loads of K dramas recently because I've just gone into K dramas and I'm like, it's just like I don't know how long that will last for, but I'm just loving them at the minute. And I just think it's the idea of being exposed to something different and recognizing that there's no monopoly on a good story, and language doesn't need to be a barrier. I can read the subtitles good as the next person.
Yeah, exactly. For that sort of, I usually watch those from Hong Kong,
right?
But the script usually has to reflect, or the one that I choose reflects that psychology of people, psychology.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I enjoy too. Okay, we understand.
It is. It's like seeing a different culture and then saying to yourself, "Is this the real culture, or is this a stereotype of the culture that you're watching?" So then it makes you kind of go, I'm going to go and find out.
Right.
So it's interesting. So tell us a little bit more about you then.
I've always been lucky.
That's good.
The very beginning. All right. Although it may sound a little it may sound a little negative, but for some reason it is not for me. Example, right? I was so blessed to have my late father, whom I only had for 3 years because he passed on after 3 years. But when I was 3 years old, so it sounded not positive, right? But no, I had the best programming. I have the believed any parent could transfer to their child.
Wow.
Yes. Even when I was in my mommy's tummy, all right, he would come home and talk to me already. Yeah, and those days in the 60s is kind of rare thing,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, the old school, right? But he did that. And between my mom and dad also, that was a time that their relationship was at the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also then, my dad was an accountant and the jobs were good and everything else. So because of such positive, I call it programming, all right?
Yeah.
So therefore, I can only say this, I only know love, nothing else.
You know what? I wish there were more people who could say that. That's what I think one of the tragedies of being human, that there aren't enough people who can say, actually, I grew up in a very positive environment and I am becoming all I can be. That's, I suppose that's why people hire you, right? And people like me to help write some of those things, I guess, or help that to write it.
Like even the other night was a Saturday night. I went to my club, all right, 1880 Club. It's a nice club. And there was like, the jazz band, they were playing and there was dancing and it was just, being happy. My goodness, there were so many ladies that came up to me and appreciating that I brought light upon them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I do? I was just only dancing.
You know what I was thinking about, funny enough, dancing, in the sense that back in the days, as you said, almost all generations before TikTok, anything before TikTok, people would dance for the joy of dancing.
Yeah.
Their body would move to what they're feeling.
Correct.
Whereas now everybody is moving to somebody else's dance. And even though you look at individual dances and go, that's really good, it's not the same because it's uniquely different, but the same as everything else. It's a bit like AI pictures, isn't it? They all have that same feel to it, that you feel you've seen it before, even though it's amazing, the new one that you've seen.
Right.
And I think that kind of mentality must have an impact on how people feel in terms of their well-being. Because supposing you're a great freestyle dancer, but you can't dance to someone else's rhythm, do you now feel that you can't dance and you shouldn't dance because you look weird? But you don't really look weird, but it just seems weird because you haven't got 20 people in a line jumping up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, you must see that in your work because aren't you all about that professional paradox about striving for success without sacrificing your well-being?
Yep. In fact, I've written a book called Author with Jack Canfield, and the title is Success Redefined. And the title, the chapter that I've written is about the paradox of success. Hidden struggles of high-performing professionals, And I've written this book, or rather the chapter that I choose, the title, all right, is because people can succeed, which is, of course, an important thing in life, but they often sacrifice, and the sacrifice is not the positive sacrifice. They did not even know the after effect that they will suffer from it. So it's not the positive sacrifice that I'm talking about. For example, all right, I have clients that came up to me, all right, they work through their issues and stuff like that, and they're successful, and the appearance, they have it all, but they can still feel void within them.
Oh, that's quite a statement in the sense that you're saying they can feel the void. What is the void? Tell me about that.
It's like, it's meaningless. Yeah. That it's like, okay, yeah, I have the power, I have the status, I have the wealth, I have the title, what have you, all of that, right? Family, everything else. But deep down, they do not have joy. You see? So that's when I was describing that I've been blessed, I'm so lucky because from young, I just know how to enjoy without needing like someone Not that I'm against people, I don't want people, but I don't need to clinch on someone so that I can do this, so that I can be happy. I don't need the external thing, but it's really coming from within. So quite naturally, often people ask me, why did I do what I do, in the sense of to choose the profession as a life strategist? It's a natural progression. It's not like, okay, I suffer about something and I overcome it, then I realize it, and then I become one. No, it was just a natural progression that I just want to impact on people's life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even as a kid, even that smile, like I said, when I was dancing, and that club happened to have like 70% ladies than men. I don't know why. You're all dressed up. Everybody looks good. But then somehow, I would turn to someone and sort of like, encourage them. Come on, dance, man. And everybody was themselves. So I could see that joy. But a lot of high-performing professionals, yes, they work hard. They have their vision, they have their goals, and they pursue it, which is great. But then at the end of the day, you should feel fulfilled. But they don't. They don't feel fulfilled. There's no fulfillment.
That's true. And I wonder whether it's because there is no focus on fulfillment. So if you think about nowhere through your education, your formal education, at least until, you've got even up to degree level, there's nobody that says, this is all interesting, but what you need to be is fulfilled. And this is, this may be your path to fulfillment, but it's not presented in that way, is it? It's like, get the exams and you'll get a great job and you'll make money. But the end goal isn't, and you will feel fulfilled. Correct. So do you think it's like the thing that everybody needs, fulfillment, but nobody knows they're lacking of it? Do you know what I mean? Because they don't know to look for it.
I suppose it got to do with, we look at external achievement, right, as the focus, as you mentioned, the focus, right, as the external achievement. But then, they did not know, or most people did not know, that even you achieve the external XYZ, it's not necessarily something you really, really want. Yeah. The first thing, that I often coach it to start with, right? What do you not want? Sounds strange, right? Everybody's always talk about what do you want. I said, no. Step back. What do you not want?
It's a good question, isn't it?
In fact, it's
you to think about what you want.
Yes, in fact, it's a tough question. You see, what you want has a lot of shiny objects. Okay? What you do not want is really inside. What goes against us? What make us lose sleep, so-called. So when you can answer what you do not want, then we can look at what we want. And of course, that has to also come from our core values. Yeah. All right. So we know what I don't want, then going to what I want, and then based on my core values that I would pursue my life, so to speak, or go into the path that I want to achieve. And that is not necessarily then just the external achievement.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So how do people get fulfillment then? So if someone's sitting there and goes, I want some of that, what would you suggest they should be doing?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I have to coach them first what they don't want. Because it's pretty hard to do it by oneself.
Yeah.
It's not easy, some people may DIY, they can do that. Most people can't, because it's not just simply, answer the question, because I deep dive, all right, into what they don't want. And of course, it's like so sometimes it can be quite hard to really answer that because we're so used to what we want. What we want is, So from there, then I would help them, all right, to know what is truly important within, and hence those are the core values.
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, my core values are loved and truth, being truthful. So everything that I do, I base on these two very strong core values, love and truthfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And because I base on these two core values, then whatever I do doesn't even have to be work. So it's really coming from what I want.
Okay.
What it means to me.
So in your chapter, you've got 5 points on how to, on your roadmap for focusing on fulfillment. Did you want to talk through those? You've got the first one being introspection.
Yes, right? You could do introspect, So what the introspection, like I said, is what you do not want and stuff like that, right? Then after that, of course, at the end of the day, right, our well-being is very important.
Yeah.
Right. So if we do not focus on well-being and only focus on the external achievement, then that's where the fulfillment and meaning is not there.
Okay.
And the other thing that's very important is what we are willing to do, as well as what we are not willing to do. As simple as that.
That makes sense. And then you've got the second one being individual improvement.
Yes. So you have to pursue or aim to be better. You've heard of Kaizen, right? Being 1%, better, 1% improvement. Right? Just 1% each task, each time. So even I coach younger people, time and again, I do have like teenagers that come, or the 20s, although it's a very small group of people. The one thing I actually would want to teach them, all right, is not to go and think about the big goal yet. You can have an idea what's your big goal, but come back, all right, to focus on the attitude of seek excellence, not to become the best, because the best has a ceiling. What happened after you become the best? Right? You stop. Because I'm the best, right? There's nowhere for me to go. And even
I suppose you stop seeking as well, because if you believe it's best, but then somebody comes along who knows more, you're like, no, that is not right, because I'm the best. There's issues there. And then you've got integrating your personal and professional life.
Yes. Okay. So with those, what you don't want, what you want, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, right? Then you're able to have this balance. Okay, a balance between your professional success with your personal satisfaction.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. To me, work is my lifestyle. I call it work because I have to show up. Right? That's responsibility. Right? If I call it play, then I can cancel anytime, or I don't show up. Right?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Okay. Yeah, but otherwise, it's not. It's just my lifestyle. It's part and parcel of the things I want to do, the things that I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
So therefore, is personal satisfaction.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then you've got interpersonal investment and investing intrinsically. So what do you mean by those two?
Self-care. Self-care for me is number one. So again, if people are so vested into the external achievement, and then they lack self-care, that's where they get stressed and burnout and not looking after themselves, and they are, they're haggard and they become sick and all that. Like for example, I find it very interesting. In Singapore, that's where I am. All right, a lot of people keeps pet dogs, and they will actually got their helper to bring the pet dog out for a walk, but they themselves do not exercise.
So interesting. I wonder how it works. I mean, I'm not a dog owner, but I wonder whether if the dog's at home with the helper and the owner, but the helper is the one that's feeding it and walking it, Isn't it not more attached to the helper?
It's not about the helper, because I would imagine that they know, right, for the dog to take walk, i.e. exercise, is important.
Yeah.
And that dog, of course, is their, they love the dog. But then they lack self-care. They can't see that is so super important for themselves.
It's a common issue, though, isn't it? It's because you can see doctors can be very unhealthy because they're so busy making sure we are healthy that they don't take care of themselves. It's a very common phenomenon, isn't it?
So when I go into, I have my group coaching, and I would, plan that they go to exercise like 5 times a week. I do that personally.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to look into the supplements. We don't have to be a health freak, to eat so healthy, but we know what's not good. So just eliminate those things that's not so good, or just have it once in a blue moon, and we'll be fine, right? I mean, we're fine. It's like, not eat out and pick out, and, then you get unhealthy. And self-care is not just the physical, but the mental as well. What do we feed our mind?
Okay, then. So do you believe then that the roadmap is all we need to become successful without sacrificing our well-being, or is there anything else?
The roadmap is a framework, I'll call it.
Yeah.
But if on top of that, if a person can become spiritual has got nothing to do with religion alone. Yeah. And a person is spiritual, then you really would achieve success without sacrifice, without the pain, without that struggle. Every day is like rock and roll, because you really want to show up and do what you are good at. How enjoyable is that?
Then it's not work, then, is it?
Yeah, it's not. Right?
Then it becomes fun.
Exactly. Our brain produces chemical. Feel good chemical. Feel good, feel bad chemical, right? The brain produces bad chemical. So when we are always feeling good, then the brain produces good chemical, and then we are healthy. All right? We are healthy. We are good. All right? There always be, good new cells that our brain produce. So everything just, like clockworks.
Makes sense. Nancy, it's been so good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Indeed, my honor. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you. And thank you out there for tuning into the Maverick Paradox podcast. I'm Judith Germain, your host, and I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation.
The Maverick Paradox. Judith Germain is an author, speaker, consultant, mentor, and trainer, and the leading authority on Maverick leadership. She is the founder of the Maverick Paradox, which supports organizations to enhance their leadership capabilities and to help business owners develop and grow their businesses. Judith enables individuals, business owners, and organizations to improve their impact and influence. She is also HR Zone's leadership columnist, and her expert opinion has appeared in national, international, and trade press.